This show is brought to you by Databril, the scalable Amazon PPC management for large Amazon sellers and brands. Visit sellersessions.com/agency for more details. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back Jared Haw. How you doing?
I'm very well, Danny. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, so we had you on previously with regards to product design and from a manufacturer's point of view. But today we're going to talk about a service that you're now offering as well, where you become like a co-investor into the project as well, but you're still doing the end-to-end stuff, aren't you? So do you want to just give a background on what you do, and then we can start to pick apart and unravel for the audience?
That sounds good. So ePower Corp, we are an American-owned contract manufacturer with production facilities in China. We provide OEM and ODM services that are geared towards startup small businesses and medium-sized businesses. These services usually are anything that's done before you receive the product, such as product developments, production, quality, and logistics.
Cool. And so let's just walk through, let's give a scenario here. Let's talk about what product manufacturing is and the kind of things that you're doing. So let's just say I've developed a new stand for the iPhone, for instance. I wouldn't do that because that'd be nuts. But if I was to develop a new stand for a device, I'm at that very beginning stage. I don't have an industrial designer on board. My design is unique. What are the steps that you would take a client through, for instance?
So the main steps that we'll be taking is the most important part is that you have a functional product. And for your example, if it's a stand, how do you want this stand to be latching back and forth? And then after you have the functional part down, you'll make a sample of that. And it doesn't really matter how good or how bad it looks. It has to be functional. And once it's functional, then you could design the product around the functional aspects. And then once that's done, then you could develop a golden sample, which is basically what manufacturing is going to be based off of. The golden sample is basically what the product should be looking like and how you'll be judging quality and everything else based off that.
Yeah. So the normal process, as I understand it, is, if you're not a designer or anything, you come up with the concept on paper, you'll go to an industrial designer, but someone who also understands about patents generally, and then get your product modeled there, and then it can be outputted to a prototype of some type. Maybe it's 3D, maybe it's even sheet metal fabrication finish, depends on the product itself. And then you want to get a functional working product. But that's where a lot of the mistakes start to happen, isn't it? Because if you're quite new to this world, the iterations and the cost of prototyping can be quite difficult. And then you're dealing with the molds thing. So as an experienced company, that's the kind of thing that you guys cover, isn't it?
Yes, correct. So with our experience, we have a lot of experience with DFM, which is design for manufacturing. So basically, we're able to take a design and we're able to cost it down by looking at the production lines, the production processes, the materials that are used, as well as any other parts that go into the products. So the thing that industrial designers usually tend not to have, a lot of skills on is DFM, and that is how to actually design the product to be manufactured. And that's just not the production lines, but that's also the assembly. So how is the product going to be assembled so it's done as quickly as possible and with the highest of quality as well? Yeah,
because I think in most cases people are going to look at what does it look like and then its usability, but not how it's assembled, because that becomes quite costly. I'm not an expert in molds and stuff like that, but I'm imagining the more moving parts, the more difficulties you've got or can see where stuff can go wrong.
Correct. And also there's a lot of confusion because just because you have a sample doesn't mean that sample could be put into production. Yeah. So a lot of people, they'll give us a sample. However, let's say if it's for a plastic injection molding, so they give us a 3D sample. However, there could be always some things wrong with the sample that cannot be manufactured. And then once we tell the client this, it always leads to a lot of frustration and confusion. So it's always best to find a company that could settle these issues before it's done. So a company that understands how to design for manufacturing. Yeah. Because if you have a product that can't be manufactured, it doesn't matter if it's us, Foxconn, or any other contract manufacturer, they're not going to be able to make it. And then it's going to be a lot of time and money that is just wasted.
Yeah, because I think what happens is, as a general, not as a general rule, but generally what happens is the great thing about China is that when it comes to manufacturing, as opposed to say the UK or the US, where people don't get back to you, they're slow responding. In China, they want to get that product done for you, and they try and meet your terms, which doesn't always help in the manufacturing process because where they're trying to keep you happy and get the right price for you, they're not thinking about the overall functionality and the finish of the product. They're more concerned about supplying to your needs rather than what is to be required in the marketplace that has longevity. Because you've seen a lot of people, I did it at the very beginning, your products at the very beginning are not always fantastic because you're learning the game, aren't you?
Correct.
And I suppose with having contract manufacturing, you've got a little bit of hand holding here and say, right, this is where this is going to go wrong if you're not careful. Whereas it seems like it can cost more money because it's going under one roof, but actually the long-term savings you make from, mitigating any of the mistakes along the way.
Correct. And the things with these Chinese OEMs is that you're right. They do try to provide the product for you. However, there's a lot of cultural barriers that they just don't really understand. And with us, we are a foreign enterprise, so we understand the needs of the Western markets.
Yeah.
And so we're able to not just develop a short-term relationship because that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in the long-term plan, the long-term future of continuously being able to develop products for the Western market that our partners are able to sell.
Cool. So let's talk about the other part of the business. So that's the manufacturing side, which is great, but you're now acting like as an investor. So you're putting your own skin in the game now, aren't you? So you're working with clients now whereby they need a bit of cash flow for the business. Do you want to break down what that looks like and how it works?
Yeah. So for a little background, we see a pretty strong trend with clients being able to or need to be able to sell customized products. And with customized products, we don't mean personalization with just putting your name that is etched into a product, but something that you have actually ownership of. So the tool is actually yours. You own the patent, and only you're able to sell that. So with this, we're developing new services that are going to be geared towards developing products for these customers. And like we talked about it before, there's many ways to, develop these products, whether it's going through an industrial designer, if it's self-investing or finding outside investors. However, how we're going to be able to compete is that our engineers, they're mechanical engineers, and they're always on the ground floor. They know what a functional product is. They know what a functional product is not, and they know how to engineer products for production lines. And that is also going to have a design that is going to appeal to the Westerner. So that is, in a nutshell, that is a new service that we'll be providing. That is investing into pre-production stages of development.
Cool. So how would that work? I mean, obviously people listen to the show and they think, great, someone's going to put some money down. But you have to qualify for this. I mean, how would you qualify people that are a right fit for you? Because you don't want to be investing money into a business where they might not have the marketing skills. They may have the idea, but then they're terrible on the marketing side. Therefore, when they do put it out onto Amazon or wherever it may be, they don't have the path of distribution and to make it work. So that's a poor investment for you. So how do you take those players out of the game and focus on the core people that you know you're going to get a return on your investment?
So there's two types of people types of companies that qualify for this. And one would be a company with very strong sales and marketing background. So this means that they've done a great job of buying and selling products from Chinese OEMs. And however, maybe they want to take it a step further and they want to diversify themselves more and they want to come up with a customized product. So then they'll be qualified just because of their backgrounds. They don't have the front end, in order to do product development, but that's why we're here. So we do that for them. The other type of people that will qualify is someone that has a very, very innovative products. Maybe they don't have the best sales channels or anything like that, but if you have a great product, then we'll be willing to take a look at it as well.
Yeah. And so in terms of, obviously each deal is different, but how does that break down? Like, what is the path of investment? Is it just cash? Is it equity in the business? Is it based on the product percentage? How does that kind of generally work?
It's going to be, it's on each different situation is going to incur a different investment depending on the idea. However, usually it will be for cash for equity, and we'll be providing more things than just equity as well, because money just goes so far. However, if you don't have anything to back it up with, such as engineers that understand how to develop products.
The other question I want to ask is, so if someone approaches you, what kind of, not products, but categories, let's just say they're Amazon sellers, that most of our audience are Amazon sellers, either on Amazon or a brand that are planning to sell on Amazon. So what kind of categories would you say are suitable? Because, it could be in scientific, or is it sports and outdoors, or is it home and kitchen, or is it pet products? What kind of areas would you be looking to invest in?
The areas that we'd be looking would be more outdoor gear, pet products. We've done security systems in the past, toys, kitchenware, things like this. Consumable products. So the products that we would not be interested in would be more chemicals, medical devices, food and beverages, and things like this.
Right. Okay. So you staying away from like edibles, consumables, and stuff like that, and less so on like medical. So what about like electronics? I suppose you're going to stay away from that if it's too complex. But obviously, if it's just peripheral cables, or it's devices that go with major brands, they're the stuff that you would look to invest in.
Correct. We do have electrical engineers as well. So
we do.
If it's yes. So if it's a device like that, we'll be able to take it on as well.
Excellent. Cool. And so what other criteria would you look for? So you've got the category style criteria. You stay away from chemicals and things like that. But other than, a good understanding of their business and proof of marketing. So with these guys, how would they come to you? Is it like an investment deck they'd bring to you, and they'll break down the numbers of what they achieved in the past? How does that work? Do you have access to their Amazon account, for instance, to check their sales history? What would you do?
I would ask for some financial, positioning of a company. I would like to see that, they're not suffering. The point of that is not to, see if they can invest their own money, but to make sure that they do have, that they are credible.
Yeah.
And then let's say for the companies that don't, just because they have a very innovative product, then we'll be much more flexible with them, just because they have a very unique idea that could sell in quite large volume.
Cool. And so where are you finding most of your guys? Are they like just sell on Amazon, or are they doing Kickstarters and they're going into mainstream stores offline, or where are you seeing your investments going at the moment?
Right now, currently, we're pretty diverse. So we work with a lot of Kickstarters. However, I don't want to be labeled as a Kickstarter manufacturer, because we also do a good amount of other business with customers outside of Kickstarter. Yeah. Some of them, there are larger conglomerates as well. However, for our investment plan, that's going to be geared more towards probably customers that are selling on Amazon, but are also interested in big box stores as well.
Sounds good. Cool. Let's wrap that there. Is there anything else you want to cover before we go?
No, I believe that's it.
Cool. And so what is the best way people can reach you?
Yeah, you can reach me. You can visit our website at www.epowercorp.com. That's EPOWERCORP.com. And then you can email us at hello@epowercorp.com.
All good. Well, great. Thank you again for joining us. Guys, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and then we'll see you again in a few days' time. Take care.